Ohio State, Michigan, the game. Let's get into it. I'm going to try to preview as many rivalry games as I can before college football rivalry weekend. There's no better way to start than at Michigan Stadium. Ohio State, Michigan, the biggest rivalry in college football. Big one. A lot on the line here. You got to start with the rivalry aspect. Michigan's won the last 4 editions of the game. Ohio State hasn't won since 2019 when they went into Ann Arbor and absolutely smoked Michigan. But outside of the rivalry aspect of it, a lot of college football playoff and Big Ten championship implications. Ohio State's the number 1 team in the country, 11-0. A win gets them into the Big Ten championship where they'll play probably Indiana. Michigan, on the other hand, enters the game 9-2, ranked number 18 right now. The college football playoff rankings come out later tonight, so we'll change it there. But Michigan, they do have a case to the college football playoff, and this win would absolutely boost the resume. Both teams have so much to play for in this game. And preview-wise, I brought up that 2019 game because when you look at these teams, it reminds me of the 2019 Ohio State versus Michigan. This was the last time Ohio State won an edition of the game. They were the number 1 team in the college football playoff rankings, undefeated, going to a 2-loss Michigan in Ann Arbor. The way that game went, Michigan scored the first touchdown. Shea Patterson was their quarterback. Then Ohio State blitzed them. It was 56-27. I'm not saying the result yet, but when you look at these teams, you have 11-0 Ohio State, best defense in America, arguably the best quarterback in America in Julian Sayin, similar to Justin Fields back in 2019. Michigan, 9-2, outside looking in on the college football playoff. Obviously, it was different in 2019. They had no shot. They do now. Ohio State versus Michigan, it's going to be a great game and obviously the biggest one on Saturday. If you followed me at all throughout this college football season, I've said Ohio State's the best team in the country. You could go to my preview video where I said Ohio State was going to run the table. They are better than I expected. This is the best collegiate defense I've seen in my entire lifetime. They're averaging 7.6 points per game against. The most they've given up in a game was 16. Then Julian Sayin, he's on pace to break the college football completion percentage record set by Bo Nix 2 years ago. And then you have 2 of the best receivers in the game in Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. The one thing Ohio State hasn't done as well is run the ball. They lost Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson. True freshman Bo Jackson's been great. The health of Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate are paramount for the Ohio State offense, but there's obviously a formula for them to win without those 2. But I'm going to act like those 2 are going to play. And in that case, going to Michigan's side, they cannot afford to get into a shootout with Ohio State. Michigan scored 45 last time out against Maryland. Ohio State's defense is the best in America. And when you talk about this Michigan offense, they are run heavy like they've always been. Jordan Marshall took over for Justice Haynes. Justice Haynes out for the season with an ankle injury. Marshall missed the Maryland game, but he'll be healthy on Saturday, or that's at least what Sherrone Moore expects him to be. Michigan cannot afford to get into a shootout with the true freshman quarterback at Bryce Underwood, who I think is going to be very good, but putting him in this scenario against a defense that has studs up and down, that is a recipe for failure for the Wolverines. Ohio State's defense is as good as they come and physical as they come. Wherever you look, they have just absolute specimens. You start with those 2 linebackers in Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles, 2 6'5" guys, 250 pounds. They will come and blitz you and get to the line. That's their recipe against Michigan, getting to Marshall or whatever backs back there behind the line of scrimmage. And then you have other guys like Caleb Downs, one of the best safeties in America, two corners that are going to play a lot of press man in Davison Igbinosun and Jermaine Matthews. This is a very hard test for Bryce Underwood, Jordan Marshall, and the Michigan offense. But there is a scenario for them to win. It's running the ball. Bryce Underwood's good. Bryce Underwood is very talented, but he's a true freshman with only 9 passing touchdowns on the season. It's hard to imagine that Michigan is going to move the ball up and down on Ohio State, and that's why you can't afford a shootout because of what the Ohio State offense can do, and I'll talk about that for a second. But for Michigan to win this game, it comes down to clock management, keeping the ball on the ground with Jordan Marshall, because that's where Michigan has found success over the past few seasons. You look at the 2021 game when Michigan broke that 8-game losing streak against Ohio State. Hassan Haskins ran for 5 touchdowns. Blake Corum had some big runs in that game too while being hurt. You go to 2023 in Ann Arbor. Blake Corum ran the ball really well. There was 1 passing touchdown in that game for J.J. McCarthy, but running the ball was the main thing for that. Michigan's physicality is going to be put to the test. And on the other side, Ohio State's offense versus Michigan's defense. Michigan has a very good defense in metrics. You look at them, they average under 20 points per game against. They're really good against the run, under 100 yards per game against. Ohio State true freshman running back Bo Jackson is going to have a tough time getting through, but he could still break some good ones. But Ohio State's offense is three guys: Julian Sayin, Jeremiah Smith, and Carnell Tate. Because if they are healthy, Sayin is going to find them. They are going to win those one-on-one matchups, and that's why Ohio State is one of the hardest teams to play against. I mean, when talking about this offense going back to week 1 against Texas when they scored 14 points, they've scored over 24 in every game. You look at their past 5 games or 6 games or even 7 going back to Minnesota at home. 42 points, 34, 34, 38, 34, 48, 42. This team knows how to score, and there's so many ways, and it goes beyond Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. You have Max Clare, you have Brandon Inniss, Quincy Porter's getting more into it, Bo Jackson, CJ Donaldson, James Peoples, Ryan Day, and more importantly, Brian Hartline, the offensive coordinator. He's going to throw everything at Michigan because this team is very different than what Michigan saw. And Michigan's defense, I mean, they have the recipe for success, especially at home. The most they've given up at Michigan Stadium this season is 17 points. The most they've given up in Big Ten play is 16 to Purdue. But none of those offenses are Ohio State, in full honesty. There are a lot more avenues for Ohio State to win this game. They could win it via shootout. They could win it by scoring 17 points in their defense, absolutely stuffing Bryce Underwood, Sharon Moore, Jordan Marshall, and that Michigan offense. There are a lot of ways. There's really only one way for Michigan to win this game, and it's clock management and running the ball down Ohio State's throats. The one other thing that favors Michigan, because college football and college sports are psychological, is that they are riding this 4-game win streak. We saw what happened last season when Ohio State was the number 2 team in America. Michigan was 6-5, and they went into Ohio Stadium and beat them. There's absolutely a psychological aspect to this, and Michigan not necessarily needs to ride it, but knowing that's in the back pocket, the closer they stay in this game, the more of a chance they have to win. Because if Michigan's leading or they're tying come the third quarter, there is going to be belief on that sideline in that stadium with the 110,000 Michigan fans that they could beat Ohio State for the 5th straight time. It doesn't matter what the Buckeyes have done over the past 11 games where they've dominated every single opponent, no matter how good or bad they are. Because if Michigan is tied and they are running the ball well, there will be the belief that they could win this game and make it 5 in a row. I've been to Michigan Stadium, and I know that there will be that energy as long as Ohio State doesn't pull away. Because that was what happened in 2019. Michigan scored the first touchdown, and then it became all Ohio State, and it was a shootout, and Michigan couldn't keep up with them. And so if Michigan allows it to be a shootout and they can't keep up with Ohio State and this ridiculous defense, then you have the problem there. And on the other side, Ohio State has been so dominant this year that if they are caught in a close game, what's going to happen? I think they'll be able to respond really well because I think this is the best team in America. But they have not been in this situation in a hostile environment, so we'll have to see what happens. Before I get into my prediction, I'm going with everyone's healthy in this game. Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, Jordan Marshall. These teams are both really talented. Ohio State is playing for a berth in the Big Ten Championship and eventually the number 1 seed in the college football playoff. Michigan with a win, they have a resume to get in because this is beating the number 1 team there. I have a minute and a half for my prediction. I'm going to keep it easy, Ohio State. And let me start off with this. I picked Ohio State last year when it looked even more like they would win, and they didn't. So anything could happen in the game, but I think Ohio State will win, and here's why. The first thing in this game is how Michigan's defense attacks Ohio State's offense, because Julian Sayin, with his completion percentage and the talent he has, he's going to find his receivers, whether it's Smith, Tate, Clare, Inniss, Porter, whoever you want to throw out there. And if Ohio State's able to move the ball and score, then Bryce Underwood, the young freshman quarterback, against a defense that allows under 8 points per game, has to go catch up to Ohio State and the Heisman finalist in Julian Sayin and the best receiver in America in Jeremiah Smith. Then there's a problem there. If Michigan's able to get the stops, then they could totally be in this game, but you have to have the defense go first because this offense is young. And then say Michigan stays in the game, then it becomes about Jordan Marshall. But Ohio State's offense is too good, and no matter who they've played this year, and they've played some good defense, they've scored 30 plus. And moreover, if they're leading, there's no defense in America I trust more than Ohio State's defense, and they put it on the resume every single week, and that's why they're 11-0 and one of the best teams in the country. I said they were going to run the table back in August. I'm not going past it here. Ohio State 35, Michigan 14. Texas A&M, Texas tomorrow. Thanks so much, guys. Like and subscribe.